Hello, it's me again. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit that notification bell because I put up videos like this once a week, giving you information about Charleston, about buying, about selling, investing in real estate in Charleston. Also, I do videos on business owners, letting you know what's out there, what type of businesses are out there in Charleston, helping promote small business owners. Just a way for me to give back to the owners that are continuing to do business through the pandemic. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you are notified when I put out a new video. And like and comment. Love to hear your questions and your comments. I reply to all of them. Well, this video is going to be a little different. It's going to be a quick video. I just want to come on and answer a couple of questions that I have been getting repeatedly about Charleston, about buying, about selling a home here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. All right, so I've been asked several times, once you are closed on the house, when can you actually move in? Well, this is a great question. I mean, when you negotiate with your agent to purchase a property, whether it is new construction or pre-owned, a closing date is set within that contract. Now, once you have actually closed on the property, that means you have went to the attorneys and you guys have actually made settlement, property is transferred, keys are dispersed, then you should be able to move in that property right after closing. Now, sometimes that could change depending on if you've made a agreement with the seller to allow them to rent back the property for a few days or whatever the case may be until the seller actually closes on another property or move out of the property that you're purchasing. But most of the time when you are purchasing a home, you should be able to, right after closing, you leave that attorney's office, you are able to go ahead and move into that property. Next question. What if I am buying a home and it doesn't appraise for the price you are contracted to purchase it? Well, that's unfortunate, but it does happen. And how I would approach this situation is a couple of different ways. If you are purchasing a home and say, for example, you are contracted for $500,000, but it only came in at $475,000. Well, now it's time for another negotiation to happen between you and the seller. At this point, you and the seller can negotiate the new price that it was appraised for, and sometimes the sellers are willing to make price adjustments to accommodate the appraised value, especially if they have been invested in actually selling this property. A lot of times, by the time the appraisal is in, it's 21 days or so within the contract. And the sellers have already made plans to either have a new property or to move out or move away or whatever their situation is. So a lot of times they don't want to have to go back live on the market and start over with another buyer. So you may have an opportunity to get that property at that appraised value. Now, sometimes sellers are like, no way, Jose. I feel my property is worth this, and if the appraised value came in lower, then the buyer needs to ante up the difference. That has happened. So a couple of ways you can approach a situation like that, whereas you can tell the seller, hey, I cannot bring $25,000 to make up the difference for the appraised value, because remember, they're only going to lend you the amount of money that the appraised value is. They're not going to give you $500,000 if it didn't appraise for $500,000. So the $25,000 is going to have to come from somewhere. And this is where you can negotiate with the seller, or the seller could say to you, hey, I am not going to reduce my property's $25,000. We have to figure something else out. And I think that at this point, you may need to actually talk to the seller about, how much the property is worth to you, or what the property means to you, or just whatever you could say to the seller to help them to understand how much you love the property, but you cannot come up with $25,000 difference. And then this is something you can also discuss with your lender. If your lender is willing to figure out if there is another way for you to actually get the property with the difference in the amount of the appraiser. So that's an unfortunate situation, but it does happen. You just need to be prepared for what options you are able to do if that does happen. Next up, this is a seller question. Should I move out prior to closing on my property? Yes, absolutely. Most of the time, once closing is done, unless you have negotiated some other terms after, like a rent back, once closing is done, the property is no longer yours. So you should be making plans to move out prior to the closing date. Like I said, unless there was some other arrangements made prior to with you and the buyer that you could do like a rent back. But you definitely should be moving out of that house, because the buyer is going to probably be moving in day of. Most of buyers are ready to go into their new property when it closes and they receive those keys. So you need to be prepared for that buyer to be able to move in. And like I said, once it closes, it is no longer your property. The possession is now to the new owners. Next question. All right, this is a good question. The way the market is today, is it ethical to put in more than one offer on separate properties? It's definitely not ethical, because you could be stuck with purchasing two properties. I understand that the market is very hot and there's multiple offers, and you putting an offer on one property could be missing out on another property, but that is not something I would recommend you do, because you could actually be stuck with purchasing two properties and you can't. For one, your loan or your approval is for one property. And if you are looking to purchase or go under contract or make an offer on one specific property, but then while you're waiting to hear back or whatever the case may be on that property, and you're not under contract with that property yet, and then here comes another property that comes up, you need to decide which one is more important, because it is very unethical for you to put an offer on several properties to be able to get one property. I do not recommend that. So I definitely think you need to talk with your real estate agent so that they can advise you on proper procedures when making an offer on a property, because you should not make an offer on several properties unless you are able to purchase those properties you are making an offer on. And that means at that same time. Is it better to buy a new construction or a pre-owned? I get this question so much. It's okay to buy a pre-owned, and it's okay to buy a new construction. A new construction is new, but then that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have any issues. Sometimes they have issues as well. So I think that if the house speaks to you, it's what you're looking for, it meets your criteria, you do your homework, you do your home inspection, you check the property out, and it fits everything that you want. And then if it's a new construction or pre-owned, doesn't matter, as long as it's what you want. As long as you've done your homework, you've done the inspections, like I said, and you are in love with the property. It's okay, whether new or pre-owned. And last but not least, this question is pretty good actually. In a hot market like this, if I'm selling my property, why do I need a real estate agent? That is an awesome question. In a hot market like the way it is, yes, you would probably think that I don't need the help of a real estate agent because properties are getting multiple offers. Sellers are getting way above their asking price. And so you may think that you don't need the help of a real estate agent, but because this market is so hot and it's moving so fast is one of the reasons you probably should not do any transaction in real estate without a real estate agent. Because right now things are moving so fast, you want to make sure you have someone crossing those T's and dotting those I's for you and making sure that everything is legit when it comes to someone purchasing your property. Right now, because of the way the market is, there are so many people trying to get properties, and you want to make sure that you're getting a legit offer. You want to make sure that everything is verified. So in a hot market like this, you definitely want to be represented. You definitely want someone on your side to make sure that everything goes according to how it should. And everything is legal and you're not being scammed or you're not being taken advantage of. So you definitely want to make sure you have someone on your side when you are handling real estate in this market. I figured it was a way for me to come to you and just kind of answer these questions for you. I do have a few more, but I'll save those for another time. You just keep the questions coming and I'll make sure to do my best to answer them. Well, I'm Carmilla Renee and I am a licensed South Carolina real estate agent, born and raised right here in South Carolina. And I love bringing you helpful tips and fun facts about my home state, South Carolina. So if you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Well, until next time, thank you for watching.